Right. She said, acting like she didn't just completely forget the time. Now, I think this connection is going to work, but there's a few things we should make clear at the start. Number one, I'm currently kneeling on my knees. Hold on, let's see if we can make this better. Okay, that's a bit better. Because, yes, I completely lost track of time. So I'll explain all of this in a minute. I was running, but got a bit carried away. I'll explain. Number two is, yes, it's Thursday, not Friday. Tomorrow I'm doing stand-up. Hold on, poster. Woohoo! A stand-up comedy night here in San Diego, in California. So I am currently dripping wet with sweat, but more importantly, I'm on a place called Coronado Island. Hello. When are you coming to Florida? Very soon. You are glowing. I've got sweat pissing down my back into my arse crack. If that's glowing, yeah, I'm glowing. So this beach, just to tell you the exciting news and why I was delayed, even though I knew before I set out, this beach is the beach the Navy SEALs train on. Like literally you're running on the beach and then there's like a wall of barriers and tape and all the rest of it, and the Navy SEALs train there. So not only did that force me to like be this desperate old hag where I'm like, you know, trying to like act like I'm super fit. All of them are like 20 and they couldn't care about some old bag sweating her tits off up and down the beach, but I just got all military. Started powering along even though I was knackered. And then some really funny things, like one of them either had a girlfriend or it was just one of these girls that literally couldn't care. She looked awesome. She's in a hot orange, I mean obviously hot orange, so on trend. No, she was in a hot orange bikini. She's like young and beautiful and she had great boobs and one of those annoying hello Auntie Katie, so cute, hello, one of those annoying bikini areas where it's just all like skinny and there's no like extra fat bits or anything. There's just like skinniness and then a tiny bikini bottom that just like it like it's the tiniest bikini bottom and yet nothing ever falls out of it either side or, you know, behind it or anything. Anyway, she's there lying on the beach doing stretching exercises, one of which was lying on her back with both feet up in the air holding the end of her tippy toes, so like a dead beetle upside down but very glamorous in an orange swimming costume in front of the Navy SEAL beach. So either she was just like, here it is boys, here it is, here's the love tunnel, come get it, or she knew some of them. But either way I was kind of like cheering her on. Hello from Oklahoma, hello. So yes, I'm diving on tonight because tomorrow I'm doing stand-up and I might miss you, and I know that I'm kind of being very negligent of Katie's arms, I'm being negligent of the UK at the moment, and I know all of those things, so it's unforgivable, and all I can say is sorry. Yes, it's a good training strategy, showing your vulva off to the Navy SEALs. She was very good. So the Hurricane Ian, has just hit Florida. So I've been ringing across to Florida to people either I'm going to see or people that I just, you know in Florida. It's not just about my visit and whether it's still fine. It's not all about me. So Hurricane Ian missed most of Tampa in terms of the true devastation that could have happened, and is bowling on through. Lots of people picked up from the west coast and ran to the east coast and hunkered down. Some people still stranded in the top floor of their houses. And so, you know, just random craziness. I'm cross because the hurricane is called Ian. Where did Eva come from? Ian. And I can't think for a moment that anyone can take Hurricane Ian seriously. Like, when did anyone, just looking to see if there's any Ians on here. Oh, you're in Sarasota. I'm going to be in Sarasota on the 16th. So come. I'm glad you're okay. Sarasota, I'm going to be with General Flynn. So if you can come. So yes, the hurricane is called Ian. Never call a hurricane Ian. When did you ever have a fight with Ian and worry about it. Like if a guy was like, I'm called Ian, I'm going to punch your face in, I'd be like, yeah, go on then. So I just think you need to pick hurricane names that are much more serious than Ian, you know. Just Brute, maybe, you know. Something fierce or biblical. David. Just not Ian. Anyway, but it's terrible and it's awful, and I'm really sorry for everybody that's lost everything in their homes and whatever. I will say, having Sarasota is in Florida. Yes, General Flynn, me, together. Sarasota, it's going to be quite the night. I think we can fit 400. Let's bring it! So I have been in a Category 3-4 hurricane, and I travelled in it from Mexico City, where I was hiding, to the coast, Puerto Morelos, yes, in Mexico. And there's a few things I know about hurricanes. One of them is, travelling in it is an unusual decision, especially when you've got a wheelie suitcase. Not the best idea. The thing about hurricanes is they're fantastic in some ways, and I say this with full respect to if you lost your life or you lost your house or whatever, it's clearly not fantastic. But if you are just amongst a hurricane and you're a traveller like me, a nomad with nothing, being in a hurricane is awesome because the whole thing is terrific. Like, yes, Hurricane Chardonnay, Hurricane Tyler. Can you imagine? Tyler! I think people would actually be frightened of a Hurricane Tyler, wouldn't they? That's a great idea, actually. Could start calling them after really scary, like, drug gang names. People would be like, holy shit. So anyway, I am travelling through the hurricane. You just are blown away. Oh, I didn't mean that. That's a very lame gag. You're blown away by the awesomeness of it. Like the sheer friggin' power of the thing, like, woof. And you realise really, really quickly that you're so tiny. Like, how little people are. And how small and insignificant we are. And we think we're all this, and we think we're all that. And these people who are in charge think that they're important because da-da-da. And these people over there think they're important, da-da-da. And the World Economic Forum, and Davos, and twatting Trudeau, or knobhead, you know, Boris Johnson, or whatever. They're nothing. Because when you're in a hurricane, you realise just how little we are. We have no power to achieve anything, in fact. Not up against the power of a freaking hurricane. Love that. I also love the fact that in a hurricane, people definitely work together. People help each other out. They're helpful to each other. They kind of welcome you in. They say, oh, well done, if you arrive somewhere. Or never mind when your whole luggage blows away across the road. Me. And there's sort of this lovely kind of everybody mucking in together, trying to help each other out, save each other's dog, save someone's cat, or in my case, save me from being stranded in the middle of the road. So so I'm trying to tell you that there are positive things about hurricanes, but that probably isn't very helpful if currently you're trapped in the top floor of your house, haven't got any electricity or water, and are thoroughly pissed off. So catch up where I am. I am in California. I've been 14 days, have I, or so, on the road, just me and my suitcase, for 14 days so far. 15 maybe, I don't know. And I've done an event every day or every other day until now, when I get to stop for today until event tomorrow. And it's been a brilliant, brilliant thing. People always say, ooh, you know, California is Democrat, California is blue. And I don't actually give a shit about the politics of the thing, but that's not true at all. Like, not at all. There's so many brilliant patriots in California. I think the strongest of the strong. And so I've travelled from San Fran to way out in somewhere called Yuba City, where the men, there was more hair in that room than probably any room I've been in. All the men were big and had lots of hair. It was very exciting. And one was called the General. No, just General. Yes, General. Not like General. Don't mess. Like, I want to be amongst men called General with big beards. And when he spoke, I've never heard a voice. The city. I've been all over bloody California, just me and my thing. I was on, I loved Amtrak in America. I love it. No one else uses it. Like, Americans, unless you're like poor, homeless, or desperate, or I don't know what, tragically disformed, disfigured. You don't use an Amtrak, or unless you're too large. This is a terrible thing to say. Unless you're too large to fly. Unless you're too fat to fly. So when you literally can't, that's not funny. So if you're a Chumbawamba and you literally can't get on a plane because you're too big to get down the aisle, then you take the Amtrak with me. And so 12 hours from San Fran, I took it. Where the hell was I? I see, this is the trouble. I don't even know where I've been or where I'm going or what I'm doing. From San Francisco, that's right, to LA, 12 hours on the Amtrak. And I loved it. I was in a room. I had a little room on my own. I could shut a door. I was absolutely hungover from the night before because men took me out after my speaking gig, and it was very bad. And I lay down. I slept for like the first 4 hours. Genius. Face down, dribbling, snoring. Brilliant. Then you get an invite to a dining car, and they give you food. Proper food. Like food, not like train food in the UK, like shit that you have to pay £150 for, and it's terrible. Like free, or that's included in your ticket price. An actual meal served with an actual knife and fork in a dining car. I mean, how brilliant is that? Am I pissed? You ask this every damn time. It's 12 midday. I've just back from my run. Are you thick? Are you stupid? Because that's probably a more pertinent question. I went to the dining car, and then they sit you, and I thought, oh, that's nice, dining car, me, eat some food, lovely, because I never get to eat on the road. And then a massive Chumbawamba was put opposite me. But even though the dining car seats are a bench made for two, the Chumbawamba opposite me was struggling to sit down. And I've got to move my legs, otherwise I'm gonna be stuck in this. Oh, I'm gonna be too low. I'm getting a cushion. Wait, one. Oh, I just did that thing. Old people do when they get up and go, ooh, ooh, like your mother or something getting out of the sofa. Ooh, now my little phone's a bit too far back. Okay, hold on. Right. Now I can't hold this like this to do my nutting. I'm currently downloading a tripod thing because it broke. So, life on the road, what can I say? Can you give my dad a shout out? Right. So this is sort of standard, really, really lame people who don't have many lines, right? Like, so they say, can you give my dad a shout out? His name is Mike Hunt. Like someone like me, I'm just moving this phone to try and make it work better. Like someone like me who's not been around the block 450,000 times already wouldn't know that actually you're the CUNT, not me. So you have to wake up a lot earlier than that, son, to try and catch me out. I'm older than you, I know more than you, and I've seen more things than you'll ever see in your tiny little life, so I wouldn't try pulling a fast one. Yeah, so that was California, and from here I go to Orlando. So I will be there off the back of Hurricane Ian. Maybe actually if they do any fundraisers or kind of support gigs, I will rock up. If you're living in a place that's completely smashed up, give me a shout, landlord@katiesarms.com, and if I can come and do some stand-up in the middle of a bloody pissy lake that's overflown and flooded with sewage, I will do that. So I'll be in Orlando, and then from Orlando I go to Georgia. I'm going to do stand-up, and I'm going to do a conference there, and I'm actually going to do an open mic in some random bar just to try and get a bit more sense of people's humour in Georgia. I'm going to go to Wisconsin, back to Sarasota, and then finally to Pennsylvania. So if you're in Pennsylvania and you can get yourself to the Reawaken weekend, and I still have a voice by then, I will be at Reawaken in Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania? I will be in Pennsylvania. So if you can come there. And can you talk about Phil and Holiday? Holiday? I think I need to have a drink. I think I might be dehydrated. Oh, I've got things here I need to show you as well. Phil and Holly. Yes, I've been following this. And I really do need to just put this phone still. I'm sitting here in my off-T-Piss hat. Now, isn't that funny? I was just about to show you something. Right. Okay, that's good. Yeah, who cares about Phil? Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I was just going to show you this, and then I will talk about Phil and Holly, because if someone asks me about it, then I'm going to talk about it. Oh, just getting the guns out. Sun's out, guns out. So how did I come to the world of stand-up? Thank you. And have I got dates for the UK? Phil and Holly. Let's try and do all of these things. If you're American, you won't have a shitting clue who Phil and Holly are. And count yourself lucky for that. Count your blessings, because you have no reason to know who they are. And actually, it'd be much better if the world didn't know who they are. Because if you knew who they are, like I know a bit of who they are, the idea that they would be on a TV sofa is bonkers. So, let's hit a few things in different orders. Number one, is there going to be a UK date? Yes. There's going to be an announcement very soon that Mark still won't let me talk about, but just remember, May, October. And also one special date this year, it'll be the first thing I do when I get back to the UK. There's going to be an event. I will post that message soon on what's coming up. So there is going to be UK dates. Please don't think I've abandoned you. And let's remember, I couldn't talk in my country for 5 years. So I'm only just being able to speak again. So it's not that I don't love, my country. It's that I was physically eviscerated from the bloody face of the bloody planet. Okay, that was that. Off-T-Piss. Someone saying they're sitting there in their off-T-Piss hat. Yes! I love you. Ooh, talk about Italy. Yes! Look what my lovely Mark did. Boop. Is this what influencers do? I don't think it is. Do they just stand on the corner looking hot with their tits out, right? It's coming. God only knows what we're doing. But we now have off-T-Piss things. Circus Tavern. Yes. Yes, if you're near the Circus Tavern, even if you're not near the Circus Tavern, have a look at what the Circus Tavern's got coming up. So excited! Yes, lovely Mark made us these. There are boys' ones as well, but who's Mark? What do you mean, who's Mark? Lovely Mark is the reason I get to do anything I ever do. Woohoo! They're girls' ones, so they have nice V-necks, so that but my turkey neck looks less turkey, and they have good short sleeves so that you can sun's out, guns out. So I'm not saying anyone needs to buy one. I couldn't care. I'm not one of those friggin' saddos, YouTube twats pushing merch. I'm just saying I quite like this because it's sort of a messaging as you go, isn't it, my loves? It's basically saying, someone says to you, put your mask on, you can just casually go, or if someone walks next to you, with a mask on and acts really outraged that you've stepped near them in Waitrose, you can just, as you walk away. That's actually why we made them. So that I can wear them in Waitrose with all the right on people and they get the message straight away just to off-T-Piss the fuck out of my way. But anyway, Mark has them. He's a legend. He's really the brains behind the outfit. Well, would we say brains behind the outfit, or would we say he holds the moral compass for our lives? We'd say all of those things about lovely Mark. And he is landlord. He is the landlord. Landlord at katiesarms.com. And if you go to katiesarms.com, you can find the merch. And it is basically lovely Mark in our house, in our old office that is now this sort of packing room with all his merch. And at the shows, lovely Mark's there. And everybody basically just loves lovely Mark. No one really comes to see me. Just come to see lovely Mark, quite honestly. Tell us about Holly and Phil. Yeah, so for anybody who's not familiar, morning hosts, breakfast morning show, have done it forever, and they are much loved by the channel they work for. Off-T-Piss is what it says. Yes, has Mark got a big dick? Huge. That was always the thing. That's what, it's basically a tripod, darling. Front up a morning show. But the thing was that Phil is gay, which is totally fine, but he masqueraded as straight for, all the years that he pretended to be straight. But sat there doing interviews with people who were gay, talking about gay issues and things, but not coming out, and everybody knew, and there were some issues, even way back when I was still allowed to be on TV in the UK, which is 5 years and a bit ago. There were some issues, and he still everyone kept up the facade. All the production team, all the people, him, everyone that employed him. La la la. Oh, goody goody two shoes, Phil Schofield. Yeah, just lying. It doesn't even matter whether you're straight or gay. No one gives a shit. But there were some things, you know. And then Holly, just so dull. She's married to a guy who sorts out TV programming, so she gets all those gigs, and blah blah. It's just they're so asinine, so boring, so dull. But as for skipping the queue, screw them. They're such moral. They sit on their little moral high ground, and now people didn't like they pushed in, and nor do I. You're no better than anyone else. Do what Bex did. Do what an ordinary person did. Get in the bloody line. I remember when we had the friggin' awful terror attack. It was just the worst thing. And they got in a cab. So I was out reporting on, covering it for America, and the whole bridge was down and London was down, and it was just, I don't know, it was awful, because I think it was the one where the lovely policeman was stabbed. They got in a cab. Was it not cowed? # was that it? Because there was that whole thing, we will not be cowed by terror, we will carry on, la la la, which is all very well, but actually people were frightened, and actually a guy died, and more people died as well. They got in a cab and drove over the bridge where the terrorist was, took a picture of themselves and put not cowed. Can you even imagine the level of cowardice required to get in a cab, in the back, drive over a bridge that had the terror attack, was completely swarmed with police and all the rest of it, and say not cowed? That was what people were doing. Dan Snow, I remember, the historian, not cowed. Oh, wait a minute. You're walking through your own capital city, and you're not being afraid to walk in your own, and you consider that not cowed. No, that's what's normal in life. It's just that we live with terrorists in our midst, and that's not okay. Don't even get me started. Okay, I've stopped. Let's talk about something else. But yeah, that whole not cowed thing, people never got. It's not all right to say not cowed while you're walking down the street. You shouldn't be, should you? Because it's your street, in your country, and you should be able to walk down it. That's called being normal. Okay, I think I just dialed back into some old hurt. And that's ITV. So what about Italy? I bloody love it. It's the best news ever. I love that she's called Meloni. My husband was like, lovely Mark was like, do you have to be so childish? And I was like, yeah, she's on the right, she's bloody marvellous, and she's hot, and she's called Meloni. Italian called Meloni because she has marvellous Melonis. And he's like, could you grow up? So her, Salvini, right-wing alliance, which if we had the right kind of voting system in the UK, that's how this country would break up too. We'd have lots of little parties that had to work together to make things happen. This two-party thing, it went out with the arc. It's just that we haven't caught up yet. She's fabulous. She's going to put Italians first. She's not afraid to say that Italy should be an Italian country. People should be proud of being Italian. People should have the right to safety in their own homes, to be proud of their country and to raise their families and to be protected, and the state should otherwise back the hell off. I love her. And some people go, but she was for the vaccine passport. She was for she did this once. I don't like her highlights. And I'm like, Jesus, people, choose your monster, right? You may not like, I didn't like the colour of her handbag. Fine, tell me who's better. Okay, maybe at one time she thought the digital passport might be all right. I think that sucks too, but tell me who's better. Choose your monster. Choose your monster, right? Which is why, yes, the MSM hates her, which is why we should love her. And then same with Putin. Like they're trying to say now Putin blew up his own gas pipeline. No, I don't think so. I strongly suspect America may have had a play in that because, well, anyway, that doesn't matter. All I'm saying is whatever the MSM says is a load of old shit. I should tell you about I won't read that out, but thank you for the thanks for the compliment. Weight loss tips. Oh, you know what? That's partly, I don't want to give away too much because I don't know if I'm allowed to say it yet, but that's partly, so if you guys remember, I'll do this as an exciting tease. If you remember my fat story, do you remember? I wanted to call it Fat and Back, but they wouldn't let me. So my fat story, and it's on iTunes, I think, and stuff, isn't it? And I put on 50 pounds in 3 months and took it off again in 3 months without spending any money. So the key point was that I didn't have any excuses, or people didn't, right? So no trainer, no dietitian, no gym, no, I don't know, and no any of the things that might be an excuse for why you couldn't do it. And I did that mainly because I'm an annoying bastard, but also because at the time, and I get fed up with people saying, oh, you're lucky to be skinny or whatever. And I was like, well, watch this. Watch this. Sat on my ass, shoved shit in my face for 24 hours a day, put on 50 pounds, and it was disgusting. Well, anyway, there was actually a really sweet message that came out of that story, I think. Well, I felt it. Because the truth of it is, I just want everyone to feel really great. I just want everyone to feel the best they can feel. And I couldn't give a shit if you're a Chumbawamba, and if you think in your head you love it, that's totally fine. It's not my business. I couldn't give a toss as long as you don't ask me to pay for your new hip or knee, when it is my business. I just know that when you feel a bit better about yourself, life is better. And that's really all it's been. People are like, oh, she hates fat people. That's not it at all. I just know that you feel better. Life is better when you feel better about yourself. And when you feel better about yourself, great things start happening to you. Same with single women who could never get a date. The minute they do something else, forget about trying to find a guy and find happy, they find a man. It's just, I think it's the same with Chumbawambas. So the event when I come back in November is going to be linked to that. It is going to be really about, I mean, there'll be a lot of me taking the piss out of myself, but it's going to be about feeling better about yourself. And I love that as an idea. Why did you cry on TV when you got a compliment? Oh, this is Big Brother. Probably not one for right now because we only have 2 minutes to go. But it has to do with a lot of my life, I suppose, I've been up against it. So my epilepsy was brutal. My seizures were brutal. And I had to, it was like being beaten up every night, like breaking your bones, breaking your back, chewing through your tongue, dislocating my arms. And I suppose that whole fighting out against the world, being super tough, being tougher than everyone else, and then being eviscerated by the media at the same time as privately hiding epilepsy and the things that it did to me, it was much easier. So if people were unkind to me, I was ready for it, really. I was ready for my arms to dislocate in the night. I was ready for, and I still am now, if something happens, I'm ready for it. And that's why I don't have any fear, because I'm ready for it. But then, and I went on to Big Brother as the most hated of all times. I stepped out and it was all and I know that's panto, I know that's theatre, but I'm still a person. And all the boos and the people throwing stuff and all that. And the idea was I'd be straight out because everyone would hate me. And all my housemates did put me up for eviction every week, even though they saw me, but they just knew I'd be an easy target. And then you guys kept me in. And then that was a little overwhelming because I wasn't being translated by the media. It was just me. And I was so used to dealing with physical things in my life, like my epilepsy, and that being a real fight, and also the fight against just being, targeted to be killed or whatever. But then a compliment is a shock and also very much more difficult to process. That was a very honest answer. Not that I wouldn't be honest, I just meant that was a bit deep for the end. There's a whole world of unpacked stuff in there, I'm sure. But that was my truth, and that's why when I got cured of my epilepsy by a very, very brilliant man who I think is an angel, I actually think he's an angel, and I got this new life. I wasn't supposed to live past well, I suppose 30 something was pushing it, 40 was ambitious. And so I get this new life now, and looks like I'm being allowed to speak in the UK again. And so every day for me is like a complete win. And so that's why I get to do what I do, really. When people say, how do you do this or how do you do that? Really, the story behind that is, 30 years of epilepsy and being eviscerated. So it's a funny old thing. But yes, I'm on extra time. I'm on free time. And so if it finished tomorrow or later today, I'm very, very happy with my lot. Right, there we are. So that's all, I think. Let me see. I don't often agree with you, but I'm glad. Oh, bless you. This is the thing, right? We keep trying to tell people we don't have to agree. And you don't have to hate someone that you disagree with. All it is that we disagree, but we could probably still have a glass of wine together, or a beer, or a vegan smoothie. Okay, my loves. I'm going to have Alex's new address to give you if you care, in about a week when he gets moved. And I will have that to give you. Meanwhile, I will keep posting my American dates in case you're in Florida or Georgia or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania. Sarasota, make sure you come. And then I will also very soon put out all the news about the event in the UK for when I get back. It's going to be just before Christmas, and I think it will be a really great event. And I'd really like you to come, because it's genuinely what we just talked about me wanting you to just feel a bit better, no matter what. Doesn't matter what you look like, what you are, if you're a massive Chumbawamba, it doesn't matter. Just how to feel a bit better, because when you feel better, your life is better too. Okay, everybody, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. I just casually flex there, and I'll see you soon, somewhere on the road.